Welcome, students. If you are joining for the very first time, an extra special welcome to you. In this video, we will be looking at the June 2021 past paper for the Grade 3 Mathematics Diagnostic Test. Let's go to the instructions. Okay, so here are the general instructions. Of course, the test is based on content that is outlined in the Grade 3 Mathematics National Standards Curriculum. The test has 60 questions. Each question has 3 answer choices. You're going to read each question and answer choice carefully. There is only one correct answer to each question, so you're going to choose the best answer. It is important that you try your best to answer all the questions. Okay, so this test has 60 questions, so of course I will not be attempting to go through all 60 questions in one sitting. So you are currently viewing part 1 of a 2-part series for this test. Okay, so let's get to the first question. Guys, make sure you have your pencils and papers ready to work out as I go, so you can, if you want to pause the video while I go through, or before I go through, just to see if you're able to answer correctly, then you can do so. All right, another point of information before we start, it's best to view this on a TV screen or a laptop screen, something that has a wider screen. If not, please turn the phones horizontally so you get the best view. Where possible, I'll make sure that I make the questions or the screen as big as possible, right? So that you can easily see what's there. All right, so question 1 says, what is 584 written in expanded form? Okay, so let us look at the options. Option A, 500 plus 80 plus 4. B, 50 plus 80 plus 4. C, 5 plus 8 plus 4. So even if you have no idea what expanded form means, you could simply try to add each of these options to see if the total would be 584. Okay, so in expanded form, we're pretty much separating the ones from the tens and the hundreds. You know, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So that pretty much anybody who might not necessarily, you know, have the best knowledge of these terms, they would still be able to understand what to do. Okay, so sometimes we may not know the formulas, but if we use a little bit of common sense, then we should be able to get through just the same. All right, or as best as possible. All right, so 584 written in expanded form. The answer would be A. So if I was to add, and as I said, I'm going to try to be as thorough as possible for those who might need a little bit of extra help. So if I had 500 plus 80 plus 4, right? Would it give me my original number? Yes, 584. If I try to do the same with 50 plus 80 plus 4, does that give me 584? Oops, see, making mistakes already. Okay, so this is 4, and 8 and 5, that's 13. That does not give me 584. If I do the same thing with 5 plus 8 plus 4, 13, that's 17. That does not give me 584. So the correct answer for number 1, I hope you guys did your working out before I did, would be A. Okay, let's move on to question 2. It says, which number is greater than 5,643? Which of these 3 numbers, A, B, or C, is greater than 5,643? Let's look at the first option, 3,000. So of course that is not correct. A number that starts with 3,000 could not be greater than 5,643. And of course, we have another option here, B, that says 5,643. That's the same. So that's equal to our number above. Let's look at C. C says 6,345. So that number, of course, is greater than 5,643. So our answer is C. Okay, this is not greater, it's equal to the number, so that also does not work. All right, let's get to question 3. Which digit is in the hundreds place in the number 3,567? Okay, let me see if I can make this screen a little bigger. Okay, so which digit is in the hundreds place in the number 3,567? Guys, what you can do, remember your place value chart. So what you can do is simply put those numbers at the top. This would be your ones. This is your tens. This is your hundreds. You see what I'm doing here? And this is your thousand. This is a TH. Okay, so which digit is in the hundreds place? That digit is the digit 5. Okay, remember that's all about your place values. All right, so question 4. Which number does the model below represent? Okay, so that means simply that we're going to just be counting. You know, I could pretty much tell what it is, but for you, if you need to count every single unit that there is, then you do so. Okay, one quick way to do this, you can count. All right, so here we have, all right, let's start on this side. So over here, I'm going to group them just a bit so you can see. We have some single units. If we should count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, gives us a total of 9. Here we have some strips. We have 4 strips, and each strip has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 4 strips each with 10. So here would give us a total of 4 times 10. That's 40. Okay, as I said, guys, if you want to take the time to count each unit individually, that's up to you. Now over here, these two are identical. This one and this one, they're both identical. So whatever we would have for this one would also be the same for the other. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 going across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we also have 10 going down, so 10 across, 10 down, that's 10 times 10, that's 100. So this block is 100. And this one is also, like I said, they are the same. This is also 100. If you want to go ahead and count them individually, that's up to you. So we have 200, we have 40, and 49. So which of these options here would represent the model? Okay, is represented by the model, and that is A, 249. So if we add the 200s plus the 40 plus the 9, gives us a total of 249. But if you're not sure how to do that quickly, I suggest you go ahead and count them. Just make sure you are careful with your counting so that you do not miss any out and get your answer incorrect. All right, so we are now at question 5. It says, what is 247? 247 rounded to the nearest 10. Again, guys, the nearest 10, think about your place value chart. So let me write the number over here. 247. Okay, this is in the ones place. This is the 10. This is the 100. When we do rounding off, we first identify the number that's in the rounding place. So they said round off to the nearest 10. So we're going to be looking at this number here in the rounding place. Then the next thing to do is to look at the number to the right of the digit in the rounding place. In this case, it is 7. Now, if this number is 5 or more, we need to add 1 to the digit in the rounding place. If it's less than 5, then we leave the rounding digit. The digit in the rounding place, we leave that digit alone. So when we look to the right, we see that it's 7. So we are going to be adding 1 to the digit in the rounding place, okay? And that number would now become 5, okay? So we would then change all the numbers to the right of the digit in the rounding place to 0. And then we write back the number to the left. They remain the same. So our answer would be 250. Okay, another thing to, without going through all the steps that I just did, if you know where to find the 10, right? When we talk about tens, we're talking about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, okay? Those are the tens. So is this number closer to 40 or is it closer to 50? So when we look at 247, is 247 closer to 40 or is it 47, right? Is it closer to 40 or is it closer to 50? All right, it's closer to 50, and that's why our answer is A. Question 6. And remember, guys, we're going to do 30 questions in this section, and then we take a break and we come back for part 2 to do the other section of the paper. Not sure why grade 3 got 60 questions in one sitting. I think that's a little bit too much, but not my exam, so we just have to work with what's here. All right, it says which coin has a value of $10? So of course you have to know these coins. If you're not sure what the coins look like, now is the time to go find your coins and see what the images are on the coins to know exactly which of them. So the first one is the $5 coin, B is the $10 coin, and C would be the $20 coin. So which coin has a value of 10? The answer is B. Moving on, question 7. Make it a bit bigger again, guys, as much as possible. If I'm able to do it, zoom my screen, I'll do so. All right, so I hope this has been easy for you guys so far. Let's move on. Now, which of the following represents 3 and 5/8? Okay, 3 and 5/8. So let's look at the options. Option A, 35/8. Option B, 3, then 8/5. C, 3 and 5/8. Okay, so 3 represents our whole number. And then 5/8 would be 5 out of 8 parts. Which of the following gives us that information? That is, hope you guys have your answer already. The answer is C, 3 and 5/8. 3 represents the whole number, and then 5/8, 5 out of 8 parts. Right, question 8. Which shape does not show half shaded? Let's look at the options. Okay, and we have to be careful now when we look at these because we want to represent half. Okay, so in option A, 2 parts have been shaded out of 4. Okay, and all parts look equal to me, so 2 out of 4 parts shaded, that gives us a half. 2. Remember, guys, you have to know about equivalent fractions. All right, so it was 4 equal parts, 2 parts shaded out of 4. That's equal to a half. Okay, now let's look at B. B is a triangle and they've split it into 2 parts. Now the key to note here is that the way they have divided this, it does not give us half. Yes, it has 2 parts, but for it to be half, it has to be, both sides need to be equal. So in order for them to have made it equal, it would have been better to have the separated this way, okay? And then shade one section. That would have been half. This does not represent half. The circle, again, that looks like a well-formed circle, and the part shaded looks to be half. So the answer would be B. That does not show half. So when we're doing fractions, all the parts have to be equal. If they're not equal, then we are incorrect. Question 9. Which fraction of the marbles is green? What fraction of the marbles is green? Okay, so we have green marbles, we have, is that gray or blue marbles? And then we have brown marbles. Okay, so in order to find a fraction, remember fraction is part of a whole. So the entire thing, okay, we will need to find what the entire thing, all the marbles together, and then how many marbles out of the entire set, okay? Now, students, when it comes to fraction, all right, let's count I'm going to put it up here, but I just want to say something after. So we'll have 3 green marbles, and that's what goes that's our numerator, the part that goes at the top of our fraction, and then out of how many total. Some students would just add up all the other marbles and put that as the denominator. However, that's not correct. Remember, it's 3 out of the total. And altogether, if we should count the marbles, we have 12 marbles. So it would be 3 out of a total 12. That's green. However, when we look at our options, we do not see 3 over 12. That means we would have to reduce this fraction to a lower term or find an equivalent fraction for 3 over 12, all right? So pretty much we could reduce this fraction or find an equivalent fraction by dividing both the top number and the bottom number by the same amount. I'm going to divide 3 by 3 and then divide 12 by 3. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. 12 divided by 3 equals 4. I see 1 over 4 as one of the options. That's the correct answer. Moving on, we are now going to question 10. It says, examine the fraction chart below. Use it to answer question 10. All right, I'm going to make the fraction chart a bit bigger, then we go to look at the options. So here's the fraction chart. Half, then it's divided into thirds, then 1/4 and fifths, and so on. All right, so first 2 parts, then 3 parts, then 4, then 5, then 6 parts, then 8 parts. All right, so let's go to the question. We're going to make this a little bit smaller now that we have that information, so we can see the options. Let's see what the options are. It says, which fraction is equivalent to 2 over 4? Is it a half? Is it 1/3? Or is it 2/3? Of course, if you know equivalent fractions, you will know what the answer is. In the previous question, I did show you how to reduce a fraction by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by the same value. But let us try to see. All right, so what is a fraction that is equivalent to 2 over 4? Now, if we look at the section, now this is just an example. If we look at the section that has 4s, then 2 out of 4 would be these 2 sections together, right? 2 over 4, okay? These 2 sections together would give us, right? So 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4, that gives us a total. 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4 gives us a total of 2 over 4. So if we look at our fraction chart, we want to look to see what gives us the same value from here to here. All right, so if we draw a line down like this, okay, what else gives us a half? All right, what fraction gives us that? Okay, so it would have been 3 over 6 or 4 over 8. But those are not any of the options there. A half is the same as 2 over 4. This section at the top right here. Okay, so the answer would be a half. And 2 over 4 parts would be the same as a half. Question 11. Which set of fractions is in order from smallest to largest? Okay, so let's look at the options here. And note, guys, we talk about fractions, we're not just looking at the denominators to say, oh, in option A, we have 2, so 2 is smaller than 3 and 3 is smaller than 4. No, remember we're talking about the fractions. So if you should compare, if you get half of something to 1/3 of something to 1/4 of something, would you be getting a bigger piece or a smaller piece, right? So that's how we want to arrange it. So let's look at these fractions. As I said, I always try to make it as practical as possible. So if I should have a cake, all right, and I give you half of the cake, let's look at how much of the cake you would be getting. If I have another cake and then I divided it into 3 sections, and I give you this section here, okay, and then I have another cake and I divided it into 4 sections and I give you this section here, right? When we look at how much of the cake we would get based on the fractions, which would be the smallest piece, which would be the largest piece, okay? So I would think this is the smallest piece, 1/4, then 1/3, and then a half would be the biggest piece, okay? So let's see if we see an arrangement that matches what I did over there, where 1/4, then 1/3, then a half. The option there is C, okay? So do not just look at the denominators and say that 2 is a smaller number than 3. I think that's what you should do. As I said, if you have to make it as practical as possible so that you see your answers, do that. Question 12. It says, examine the circles. I have to make it a little bit smaller still. All right, so it says, examine the circles in the rectangle below. Use it to answer item 12. So in the rectangle, we have 4 circles. 3 have been shaded, 1 has not been shaded. So it's now telling us to look at the different options to see which set has the same fraction of shaded circles as the set in the triangle. So remember, this triangle has 3 out of 4 parts shaded. Okay, so option A has 6 out of 8. Option B has 3 out of 8. And option C has 6. Is it all? I want to make sure everything is on the paper. Right. 6 out of 6 parts, okay? Everything was shaded. So which of the sets here has the same fraction of shaded circle? Now you notice that for these options, they're not the same as what's there in terms of the actual number. So again, we would have to do some reduction where possible. So if we divide this number, right, both numbers, the top number and the bottom number, by the same, we could divide both by 2. This gives you 3/4. That's the same. Okay, this one we could not find a common factor to divide both of them. And 6, of course, I could divide both by 6, and that gives me 1. Sorry, divide it by 6. And that gives me 1, because 6 out of 6, that's the whole thing. So, of course, this would not be the same because, of course, not everything was shaded in the set that's in the rectangle. So the answer, based on what we have been doing, would be A. Moving on, let's get to question 13. Which digit should be changed in the number 4,612 to make it less than 4,000? So which digit should we change in this number to make it less than 4,000? Is it the digit in the ones place? So if I just change the 2, does that make the number less than 4,000? No, it doesn't. If I change the number in the 100 place, which is the 6, does that make it less than 4,000? No, because I would still have, even if I change that number to 0, I would still have 110 and 2 1, so that's still more than 4,000. Okay, option C says, do I change the number in the 1,000 place? Yes. I would have to change that number to 2 or 3 or 1. then that makes the number less than 4,000. Any other number I change would not make it less than 4,000. So the answer is C. I would have to change that number in the thousand place, which is the 4, to make it less than 4,000. Moving on, question 14. What is the sum of 2,641 and 1,425? So again, addition question. So do not just go around guessing, guys. As much as possible, do your working out, do your calculations. 5, 2, 4, 1. Do you notice how I wrote my numbers in the second line? Started on the right to make sure my numbers are lined up correctly. Go ahead to add. You start on the right. 1 plus 5, that's 6. 4 plus 2, that's 6. 6 plus 4, that's 10. Put the 0 here, bring the 1 over in the next column. 1 plus 2 plus 1, that's 4. The answer, 4,066. So you have to remember to bring this one over, guys. And the answer is A. Let's get to question 15. Again, another addition question. It says add. Oh, but it's not just an addition question. Let's read. Add 1,249 and 594. What is their sum rounded to the nearest 100? Okay, so we gotta do our addition first. Then we look at the second part. 1,249 and then 594. Let's add them. Then plus 4, that's 13. 3 here, bring the 1 over in this column. 1 plus 9, that's 10 plus 4, 14. Bring the 1 over in this column. 1 plus 2 plus 5, that's 8. And then this one goes here. So the answer is 1,843. Now, is this closer to? Of course, 700 would not be the answer, guys. It's between 1,800 and 1,900, right? So it says, what is their sum rounded to the nearest 100? So is this number, again, closer to 1,800 or 1,800, or is it closer to 1,900? Remember, this is the 100 split, right? So this is where the rounding place. So we're going to be looking at the number to the right. If it's more than, if it's 5 or more, we would have added 1 to the digit in the rounding place. If it's less than 5, we're going to leave the digit in the rounding place alone. So in this case, the digit to the right is less than 5. So we're not going to be adding anything to the 8. So it's closer, it's nearer to 1,800, okay? So our answer is B. I may need to do some videos on the different topics in more detail, but this is a test paper that we're working on. It's assuming that you would have gone through the content for these already, but there are times when I may just pull from the content and do some little short videos to explain these concepts in more detail. So maybe rounding off would be one of those. If you guys want to see me do a rounding off video, then just let me know in the comments. All right, so question 16. The diagram below shows the number sentence 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 10. Which other way could this number sentence be written? Is it 5 times 2 equals 10? Is it 2 times 2 equals 10? Is it 5 divided by 2 equals 10? Of course, 5 times 2 is 10, right? So 5 times 2 is equal to 10. So A is correct so far, but let's check B and C. 2 times 2 is not 10. 2 times 2 is 4. And 5 divided by 2 does not give us 10. So instead of adding, we can do multiplication 5 times 2. Okay? And that's how addition and multiplication are related. All right, question 17. How many jumps does Roy have to make to get to 8 if he starts at 0 and jump by 2s? How many jumps? So we're going to have to jump like Roy. Let's see if I can jump like Roy. So we're going to be starting at 0 and jump by 2. So how many jumps? So this would be one jump here, because it's going by 2s. Another jump here. Another jump here, going by 2, guys. And then another jump 2, because we want to get to 8. All right, so how many jumps did we make? 1, 2, 3, 4. We made a total of 4 jumps. Starting at 0, we made 4 jumps. Remember I said jump by 2s. Okay, so we have to be careful that we look at the information carefully to see what was said. Question 18. What does the picture below represent? All right, so I see some rectangles here, and in each rectangle we have 4 circles. So there are 3 rectangles, and in each rectangle we have 4 circles. All right, so what does the picture below represent? Does it say 2 times 6? Of course, no. We have 3 rectangles and 4 circles. It has nothing to do with 6. B says 3 times 4. C says 4 times 3. Now, this might be a little tricky for some of you, but it's 3 groups, okay? 3 rectangles, so it's 3 times 4. The answer is B. 3 groups of 4, okay? 3 groups of 4. For C, it would have been, like you're saying, 4 groups of 3, okay? But in B, it's 3 groups of 4. So even though the numbers would give you the same amount, the same total, the same product, B is the correct answer. Now, 19 says, which diagram shows 30 divided by 4? All right, let me make this a bit smaller so we can see all the options at the same time. You guys are able to, as I said, zoom to see, then let me see if I make it a little bit bigger. No, I have to make it smaller. All right, so which diagram shows 30 divided by 4? So of course we have to make sure that we are seeing 30 items, and then we're dividing by 4. So we have to be seeing 4 groups, okay? But the groups have to be equal groups, okay? So in option A, we do not have 4 groups, so that would not be correct. In B and C, we do have 4 groups, so we have to make sure that the number in each group would be correct. So I see 7 in this group, 7 in this group, 7 and 7 and then 2. And then I see 8 in this group, 8 in this one, 7 in this one, and 7. So they had 2 groups of 8 and 2 groups of 7. No, because remember when you're doing division, the groups have to be equal, okay? So if you know your multiplication tables as well, that helps you. So if we try to divide 30 into groups of 4, we would get 7 in each group, and then we would have a remainder of 2. So option B shows us that we evenly divide 30 into 4 groups. Each group would have 7, and we would have 2 extra, all right? 2 remaining. Question 20. Use the diagram below to answer question 20. All right, so we have 3 ovals and we have 4 red circles in each, and it says, what is the product shown? So guys, you have to know what product means. It means multiplication, okay? The result you get when you multiply 2 numbers. And so, not just 2 numbers, sorry. Because it can be more than 2 groups, but for your level, of course, it would have been 2 numbers. So we are multiplying 3 groups of 4, right? So it would be 3 times 4, 3 times 4. So it's 3 groups of 4. 3 times 4 equals 12. The answer is A. Moving on, as I said, guys, we're just stopping at 30 for this one. And then we do the final 30 in another video. So come back. Make sure you guys are subscribing and liking and sharing this video. Okay. All right. So question 21. What is 255 divided by 5? Again, this is division. I don't know if you guys know how to do long division and all of that, but let's go. You don't need to do long division, but sometimes when I do the long division, then it helps students. It's actually much easier for, I think, for you guys to understand what's going on, but I perhaps might not do that this time. All right, so now when we're trying to divide, right, if the first number is smaller than the divisor, then we are going to be using the first two numbers. So in this case, we could not use divide 2 by 5, so we're going to be dividing 25 by 5. 25 divided by 5, that gives us 5. And then 5 divided by 5, that's 1. As I said, I could have done this long division route, but we're not doing that today in the interest of time. I do have division videos, so you guys can watch those division videos, and it shows you long division and how we go about that process. All right, so the answer would be 51. Question 22. What is the best estimate of 375 times 5? All right, they say estimate, but of course, if you are not sure, then go ahead, do it the old-fashioned, long way. All right, better safe than sorry. So let's multiply and see what we get for answer. 5 times 5, that's 25. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 2. That's 37. 5 times 3, that's 15. 15 plus 3, that's 18. So we got a product of 1,875. So what's the best estimate? Is it 20,000? No, that's way too much. Is it 2,000 or 200? This number is closest to 2,000, so that would be the best estimate, okay? And another way to estimate, guys, since 375, that's close to it's close to 400, right? So you could say 5 times 400. That would be easier for you to understand. 5 times 400, that's 2,000. So again, it's closer to that estimate. A little bit below, but it's the closest one to the answer there. 23. If 396 marbles are shared equally among 3 friends, how many will each friend receive? Okay, so again, this is a division question. So we don't have time to draw 396 marbles, but guys, if you don't know how to divide and you want to draw 396 marbles, I'm not gonna say no, okay? But the best if you learn division, so you can do this quickly and easily. All right, so 3, 3, 9, 6. 3 divided by 3, that's 1. 9 divided by 3, that's 3. 6 divided by 3, that's 2. The answer is 132. So if you know what to do, guys, it's very easy. But if you don't know what to do, like I said, you still have to figure it out. But again, common sense, guys. Remember that thing named common sense is also very good to use and to have, right? So you have 396 marbles, and you're going to divide it up by 3 friends. There's no way each friend is going to get 300 and something. So, of course, B and C could not possibly be the answer. You didn't even have to work this out. It just would not be possible for it to be B or C, because there's no way if you have 396 marbles that each person could get 300 or something marbles. There's absolutely no way. Another thing I like to tell students too Because I know sometimes people they think about money or food or certain things, and the concept comes across easy. Just think about it in terms of money. If you had $396, you're gonna give it divided by 3. How much money would each person get? Okay, they would get 100 and something, right? So if you use something that's would make it easier for you to understand, substitute marbles, put money in there, or put food, or put something, so that helps you to get your answer that much quicker. Okay, so let's get to 24. Coming down, guys, to the final few. All right, so class of students is divided evenly into 4 groups, which could not be the total number of students in the class. So the class is divided evenly into 4 groups. So which of these could not be the total? So we want to know now if each of these numbers, or which number is not evenly divisible by 4. Okay, so 36. All right, I know what the answer is, but for your benefit, I'm going to work it out. Okay, so 36 divided by 4. Okay, the answer is 9. Of course, remember I said if you can't work with this one, then you have to. But of course, guys, you have to do your multiplication tables, okay? So 4 times 9, that's 36. All right, 46. Let's see 46 divided by 4. All right, so 4 into 4 goes 1. 4 into 6 goes 1, but there is a remainder of 2. Okay, so there's a remainder of 2 for this one. For C, 4 into 52. Again, guys, this is some shortcut, but I have division videos you guys can go watch. 4 into 5 goes 1, and then we have a remainder of 1. 4 into 12 goes 3 times. And so this number is also evenly divisible by 4. So the only number that's not evenly divisible by 4 is B, 46. There was a remainder of 2. 11 4 is 44. Okay, so we've had 2 extra. So the answer was B, 25. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Tom has a total of 65 marbles. He has 21 red, 16 blue, and 28 yellow marbles. Which set of marbles can be shared equally into 3 groups? Again, division question, guys. Which set of marbles can be shared equally into 3 groups? So it has a total of 65. So it has 21 reds. Can we divide 21 into equally into 3 groups? Can we divide 16 into equal groups of 3? Or 3 equal groups? Or can we divide 28 into 3 equal groups? Okay, let's try 21. All right, and again, if you know your multiplication tables, you'll know that 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 5 is 15. We have another extra one there. 3 9 is 27. There's another extra one there. So the only number here, and as I said, guys, if you have to draw the 21 marbles and divide up into groups of 3, I guess 16 marbles and divide up into groups of 3, and 28 marbles, do that, okay? Don't know how to do division, work with what you have. Draw your circles, draw your things, and do it. The best thing to do is to have this knowledge, but if you don't have the knowledge, do what you have to do to get your answer. So of the 3, which set can be equally shared into 3 groups, the answer would be red. You would get 3 groups of 7. 26. Marsha received 3 bags of sweets from her aunt. She shared 2/3 of 1 bag with her friend. How many bags of sweets does Marsha have left? So she had 3 bags from her aunt. 1 bag here, another bag here, and another bag. That's the 3 bags she got. She shared 2/3 of 1 of the bags. So she still has this one. She still have this one. Out of the 3rd one, she gave 2/3. So in order to find what 2/3 is, we have to look at the bottom number. That means this one was divided into 3. Remember, the bottom number tells us the total number of parts. So trying to divide it into 3 parts there. And then she gave 2/3. So she gave our friend this part here, so, and this part here, so. So how much she have left? So she still has this whole bag left, and then 1 out of 3 parts. Because remember, she gave away 2 parts. So she had 2 bags and 1/3. Okay, so she had 2 full bags still and 1/3 from the one that she shared with her friend. So the answer would be A, 2 and 1/3. She didn't have 1 bag left. She didn't have 1/3 bag left. She had the 2 full bags, and then she also had the 1/3 bag left from the one that she shared with her friend. Question 27, almost at the end of this section, guys. Shanice ate 5/10 of a cake. Kamar ate 1/10. And Christine ate 3 out of 10 of the same cake. Which 2 persons ate less than half of the cake? All right. So if Shanice ate 5 out of 10, guys, that's the equivalent fraction, that's equivalent to a half. Kamar ate 1 out of 10, just 1 slice out of 10 slices, and Christine ate 3. So if you combine what Kamar and Christine ate, that's 4 slices out of 10. That's still not a half. So the 2 persons who ate less than half of the cake would be Kamar and Christine. The answer is B. Shanice ate half the cake by herself. So she ate 5 out of 10 slices, that's half of the cake. All right, question 28, almost at the end. Again, guys, don't forget to subscribe and share this video. Now, and again, guys, if there are any topics from this paper that you would want me to look at in more detail, see another 5-minute video, just to explain that particular concept, then let me know. And I'll see what I can do to just create a short video that I can upload so you guys can have access to it as well. Now, question 28. How many centimeters are there in 1 meter? All right, so you have to know how many centimeters. You have to know the metric system, okay? 10 centimeters. Is that how it goes? No. 10 millimeters, 1 centimeter, 10 centimeter, 1 decimeter, 10 decimeter, 1 meter, and so on. All right, so how many centimeters are there in the word centi? Remember, I don't know if you know, but the word cent, that comes from 100. Okay, so there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So the answer is B. Okay, 10 centimeters does not make 1 meter. 10 centimeters make a decimeter, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so question 29, which of the following is equal to 1 liter? Is it 1,000 milliliters, 100 milliliters, or 10 millimeters? Again, guys, you have to know how to convert from one unit to the other, and it's 1,000 milliliters that make 1 liter. So the answer is A. And the final question for this section, how many minutes make 1 hour? And this has to do with time and, of course, converting from minutes to hours and so on. You also have to know that. And it's 60 minutes that makes 1 hour. All right, 30 minutes, that's half hour. And, of course, 100 minutes, that's more than even hour and a half. But it's 60 minutes, okay? The minute hand goes around the clock. Right, 60 intervals, and that gives you 1 hour. Okay, so that's the end of this paper, guys. Stay tuned for part 2. I'll see you in the next video.